friends, Jarchomp here. We are about to do a really cool interview with my friend Bailey, who's the owner of Crave Collectibles that we're about to walk into. We're going to show you the store, listen to his story, and I also wanted to preface this with, Bailey's store recently got broken into. And so we're going to hear a little bit about how this crazy modern market for collectibles, both sports and Pokemon, is driving some people to do some really insane and illegal things. So I'm interested to hear his take on that. Before we dive into that conversation and podcast, though, I wanted to shout out our Drip streams. Thank you to Drip for sponsoring this video. We've been streaming with Drip for basically every week for the last couple of months. It's been a ton of fun. We've built a really cool community of people who want to open packs and buy slabs and singles from us. So we're streaming pretty much every Tuesday. But tomorrow, we're going to be doing a special giveaway stream for Friday. Lots of cool X and Y era packs we're going to be giving away, so tune in. We'll put the details in the description and the time right here on the screen so you know when to tune in. And that's all I got to say about Drip. Appreciate them for sponsoring this video. Let's go check out Crave Collectibles and chat with Bailey about what's going on at the store. And we are with my good friend Bailey, the owner of Crave Collectibles out here in Utah. Probably the premier collectible store in all of northern Utah, if not the entire state.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And I wanted to have Bailey on. He's got his ear to the ground when it comes to owning a store, doing big business in this industry, having tons of employees, multiple streaming platforms that he's working with, and just hands in a lot of different buckets when it comes to the collectibles industry. So thanks for coming on, my man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Let's dive into maybe the first question, which is, tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into this business in the first place, man.
Yeah, so I've never actually told this story publicly. I tell it to people all the time, but when I first started, it was probably like 2019, right during COVID, I guess, and things were ramping up. I was following a lot of Discords and different things just for market trends. And people were talking about cards. Cards were getting hyped. This was the Zion era, the John Morant era for my sports people. And so I was in a sneaker page, and a guy posted and was like, I'm selling my storage unit. It's got a lot of signed memorabilia, game-worn Jazz memorabilia, but it also has a few cards. And I was like, well, let me get in there. I'll pay you extra. Let me get first dibs at this. So I go up. I drive up. He lets me walk through the unit, look at the cards. And I see a few of these. I mean, they were shiny at the time. I didn't know what they were. They were foil, but they were precious metal gems for basketball. One of the most desired sets in all of basketball collecting. And I start looking these up because I was very versed on eBay because I had a reselling business for years and years. And what happened was I look up this one card. It was a John Stockton PMG, and I'm like, this card's $2,000. Are you sure you want to sell this? He was only selling the unit for $1,050.
Sheesh.
And he's like, man, honestly, I hope you make a lot of money. I'm sick and tired of dealing with this storage unit. I just need to get out of it.
Move on.
And I need to get all this stuff out, and you can get it out, and you can buy it.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I'll take it. There ended up being 4 PMGs in it. We ended up grading a lot of the stuff, and we sold it for over $30,000.
So who's we? You're talking about you?
So at the time, I had a business partner. We're still friends. He actually runs In Hand Prime on eBay, if you ever want to check him out. Good dude, but so he helped me through the grading process at the time. We didn't have, I really didn't know anything about cards.
Yeah.
He knew like PSA, he knew how all that stuff worked. He's a collector. And so I was like, look, if you can help me out, I'll split this 50%. I'll give you 50% of all of these cards, all the money that we make.
Yeah.
So he handled all of that for us. Then it snowballed into, getting on Facebook and buying more deals and doing more business together. Later on, we went our separate ways, but with that being said, I mean, still it was $1,000 to $15,000 for myself, and then $15,000 for my partner at the time. I mean, I saw that as an opportunity, like, wow.
Light bulb went off, and you're like, wow. And
this could be some real money.
There's probably more than just one storage unit out there where we could make that kind of profit.
Exactly. And then once I started doing that, I started helping another local shop procure inventory, because at the time sealed product was really hard to get. I made a few connections like really quickly. Honestly, I don't even know how I made those connections, but we made those connections. I started supplying inventory for that store. The payouts just weren't coming like they were promised, and so I was like, well, let's start our own thing. And at the time, Whatnot had just started, but I didn't even know about Whatnot. So I was just looking at Facebook, for example, and there was a software called Comment Sold.
Okay.
and people could go on. It was mostly clothing boutiques, but people would go on and they would show an item and comment sold, and it would send them an invoice to their messaging. And I was like, wow, this is like QVC on Facebook. Imagine if eBay did this through all categories.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I'm in a Lowe's parking lot over here in Sandy. I'll never forget. I'm on my phone on Instagram scrolling, and I see Whatnot pop up in somebody's feed. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what I was talking about. I immediately call my guys and the guy that was supplying me product and my partner at the time. And I was like, we've got to get on this. Like, this is the future right here.
Yeah.
And so there was the first card show after COVID was in Dallas, and we went there, met with the owners or the guys that were handling the onboarding. And I don't know how we did, but we talked them into letting us on, even though we had no streaming experience, none of that. And we got on, and the rest was history. Started in a 200 square foot spot, then 2 months later moved into a 400 square foot spot. Then 2 months later after that moved into a 750, and then 2 years later we're in our current shop that we're in now at 2,200 square feet with 13 employees and a full operation.
Wow.
So
I want to drill down to some of the specifics here, right? Because like, it's not just a random person who's surfing on Facebook Marketplace who is able to find a deal like the one that you found that kind of catapulted you into this entire world. Yep. You mentioned you had been reselling on eBay for many years. Tell me about that. Like, is that like from your childhood, and how'd you get started, and what was your inspiration for all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so when I was 15 years old, there was a place called Bargain Hunt in the Southeast, and I started going there, looking things up on my phone and just flipping them on eBay. I mean, I had lawn care businesses and everything. I just love business.
You're a serial entrepreneur.
I just love business. I mean, I quit playing baseball at the end of high school. I mean, I was like, I'm not going to play baseball the rest of my life. Who cares? Sports in general. Like, I'm trying to make money.
Yeah.
And so I was reselling for 15 years old, buying truckloads of Amazon customer returns, one-off items, pallet auctions. And I did that for, I mean, I guess it was 10 to 12 years. And then during COVID, I started selling swimming pools and fitness equipment. We started a fully fitness equipment brand, buying secondary bumper plates for CrossFit gyms. And that turned into $1 million business in a year. We quit doing that once I found out what cards were, and cards are not quite as heavy as fitness equipment.
The inventory situation's a little bit more simple.
Yeah, we're picking up 40,000 pounds at a time and rolling them into the garage and then reloading them into trailers and meeting people 3 times a week, driving 6 hours.
That's good business for a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
not for a 30-year-old and on.
Exactly, and it's hard to scale when you're doing it that way.
Yeah,
where collectibles, the one thing about collectibles is it's worth what somebody's willing to pay. And it's a market that really doesn't take up too much space. I say that, you just saw my back room and it's packed.
Well, you also have some of the most substantial collectibles inventory I've ever seen in one place. It is unbelievable, and we'll show some of the B-roll here as we're talking, but the grind that you and your employees have been on the last few years has obviously paid off, because you guys have amassed some really impressive things both in sports and Pokemon. So
I appreciate that. I couldn't do it without my guys. I have an incredible team.
Yeah, we'll get into kind of how you expanded into other employees and stuff later on, but so you had kind of the itch for business. The low-hanging fruit, I guess, for an entrepreneur is going to be, a small business, some reselling, and then you ended up moving from Alabama, which is where you're from, out to Utah, and then you found that deal on Facebook Marketplace, and that's kind of what
really spurred the whole thing.
Yeah.
I still thank that guy to this day.
Yeah.
I sent him a message. It was probably a year ago, but 4 years later, and was like, man, this all started with you, just so you know.
That's awesome. That was primarily like a big sports deal, right?
It was.
So obviously my audience here is more into the trading cards, Pokemon specifically, which is a market that I would say maybe it definitely isn't as long-standing as sports memorabilia and cards, but as far as the modern scene at these card shows and online selling, Pokemon and other trading card games are like a real significant part of this entire industry now.
For sure.
And so you coming from a sports background, not only from playing sports, but also buying and selling, collecting sports cards and stuff, how did you get to the point where you felt like Pokemon was also something that was going to be significant for your business?
Yeah, so we started out as a 100% sports card store. We had 0 Pokemon, 0 trading card games. And about a year, probably about a year after we started, Tyler, the guy that still works for me, he's been with me since day one. and he said he's been collecting Pokemon since he was a child. I mean, he was heavy buying in 2015, 2016. He shows me eBay pictures of Charizards at $20 and $30 for base set Charizards, and he's just buying them. I mean, he showed me a fan of 100 Charizards. Like, he was that guy. And so he was like, we should try Pokemon. Like, I see Pokemon streamers on Whatnot, and he's been a streamer for me for 5 years.
Sure.
And he said we should try Pokemon. So we just bought a little here and there because I'm a fail fast, fail cheap kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing I learned in college, and I swear by that. So I was like, yeah, we'll try it out. If it works, we'll dive in. Because if it works, we go head first.
Yeah.
And so it worked, and now we do about 60% Pokemon and 40% sports.
Wow.
And one reason is because we only have a couple sports streamers where we have 7 Pokemon streamers.
Sure.
So you can obviously sell a whole lot higher volume. But yeah, I mean, it completely pivoted the business.
But that's indicative of like the market's need for more Pokemon streaming, right? Yeah. Because you wouldn't have 7 Pokemon streamers if there wasn't as much of an appetite for Pokemon card rips and singles and slabs and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of burst onto the scene. But you have been, in this business and had a storefront for how many years now? So
I think we're at 5 years.
5 years with a storefront.
Yeah, it's either 4 or 5 years with a storefront now.
So that's 2020 you would have opened the store.
2021.
Okay.
Around that time.
Well, a lot of the people that are following the channel and maybe are in the Pokemon hobby have not been around in collecting cards for that long, right? It's maybe a shorter term thing, maybe in the last 18 months.
January or even 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah. So, and what they maybe are thinking is, wow, like the market has always been this hot for Pokemon. It's always been the case that you could never find things at Target or Walmart or wherever on the shelves. But you and I know that that's not quite the case.
Yeah.
And so you tried Pokemon back a number of years back, and maybe getting distribution was a little easier as far as getting an account. But but being able to actually sell that product for a market was different. So how has the Pokemon market changed in the last few years?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously during COVID, you had Champion's Path on the shelves, Shining Fates on the shelves, which did sit some. Champion's Path didn't really sit. Evolving Skies even sat. I mean, all of these products, you could walk in the store, and most of the time you could find some of the product. I'm not going to say all the time, and it depends on what market you're in, obviously. But once we went through 2022, and I'm not sure exactly when Scarlet Violet Base released, but when Scarlet Violet Base came out, I mean, you could buy booster boxes on TCG Player for $80.
$80.
And I'm sitting here telling my distributor, you know what? Like, you hold your booster boxes. I'm just going to get them off TCG Player because you're charging me more than that anyways. But I will tell you, as a store owner and somebody that does have a distribution account, it severely hurt us in the long run to do that. Like, it's better to just take the, few $1,000 L and keep that distribution flowing, because everything has ebbs and flows.
Yes.
Like, what I've tried to tell people this year, if you're new to collecting, is this year is an anomaly. Like, this year, if you started in January until now, you could have made an insane amounts of money.
Yes.
But things will come down.
Yeah.
So if you say, I'm not going to sell this card because, like, for example, Team School Poncho, what is it, $7,000 right now?
Basically, yeah.
Those were, what, $2,500, $3,000?
Yeah.
To say, it's $6,000 now. Say it sells for $6,000 next week. I'm going to keep holding. And next week it sells for $5,000. I'm going to keep holding. It's definitely going to go back to $7,500. Don't think it's for sure going back to $7,500, because maybe it will, but it could be 2 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you really get hurt.
The evidence that you're looking at is probably too short to prove that it's going to go right back up, right? We're talking about a Pokemon card hobby where attention can shift so fast. 1 week, tag teams are surging. The next week is Alt Arts from Sword and Shield. The next week, it's Scarlet Violet.
Is, Pikachu from Celebrations, it's $2.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen, and you are in the same boat. You've seen cards 5 or 6 or 10x in a short period of time. And what you're saying is, if you're someone who is in this hobby to make a little bit of money, don't get too enthralled with the market being as high as it is now.
Yeah, take your profits. I mean, I'm to the point right now where if we have a card that exceeds, a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, prime example, I just sold you Machamp from Expedition.
Yep.
That card I've had for probably 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's not thousands, but it could be a couple thousand.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I bought it for $500 a few months ago. Even if I sell it to you, I can make a few $100.
Yep.
Why not just sell it, take my profits, I'll move it into something else, and you just keep it moving. If you're not willing to keep it moving, you're going to get hurt eventually. I mean, if you've seen the market over the last 3 to 4 years, just take that advice.
Yeah, it's fascinating you say that, because I think you're talking from the perspective of someone who, is heavy into the reselling business. Mm-hmm. But there's also people that are just collectors.
Yeah.
And they don't really have an interest specifically in making money from the collectibles, and they want to buy things and, because they just want to enjoy them and own them. And maybe that advice that you're giving to, move on from something to a collector they don't really care about it.
Yeah, of course.
And one thing I think I would like to point out here is, like, collectors in the long term, they're also the people that have seen some of the most appreciation in their items. Like your buddy with a fan of Charizards in 2016, buying them for $20. Well, now years down the road, he probably bought those Charizards just because he liked them.
For sure.
Right? Not because he thought they would be $400 or $500 a piece.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting how it can go both ways, depending on the business and your intention with the collectible.
For sure. There's obviously the people, like I've bought cards from people. I mean, just this year, I bought a Gold Star Charizard. The guy traded bulk for this Gold Star Charizard and graded it in a PSA 10 years ago.
Crazy.
Well, he's held it, and I mean, maybe a couple years ago the card was $15,000. When I got it from him, it was $30,000.
Yeah.
I sold it for $32,000, and now there's $75,000 or $65,000 in a PSA 10.
Yeah.
And that's 3 months later.
Yeah.
Like, the normal markets and trends do not happen like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, but with that card, again, on the other side of things, that is a super rare card. It's super desired. But will that card be the same one that people desire 2 years from now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
I mean, in 2016, ponchos, or 2017, ponchos were $20.
$50 for the box, yeah. It's incredible to think about, but it also means, it doesn't necessarily mean that they shouldn't be worth that amount, because what you said at the beginning is so important, which is collectibles are worth what someone is willing to pay for them. And people are typically are thinking that it's worth it to pay a certain price for something if they see other people paying a similar price for that, which is where you kind of see this herd mentality of people focusing their attention from one thing or one genre to the next, which is probably what's driving a lot of the increase in the market that we're seeing today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another piece of your business, or I would say a big piece of your business that you kind of had the foresight to jump on, which is the streaming side, right? A lot of people, I think, are familiar with the idea of owning a local game store, but you have done it in such a way where you've probably prioritized the selling of your items more on streams through the internet than in your shop. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and that makes some of our locals mad, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Because people don't understand the balance that goes into running Pokemon streams for 30 plus hours per day. We actually don't just run on one channel. We run on 3 channels consecutively. And even my employees get upset because they're like, well, can we not sell the singles from the store? And I try to say, you can't sell the singles from the store, and the customers can't buy the singles that you're selling. Mm-hmm. If they want to buy those, they can come on the stream and they can bid on them.
Yeah.
And, that's a hard place to be, especially when you're trying to build that local community in store, because, and don't get me wrong, if somebody comes in the store, requests a specific card, and we know that we have it in the streaming room, we will grab it and sell it to the customer.
Sure.
But we don't just have a box in there that we let them go through.
Yeah.
And so even if the card could be in there and we don't know, they don't get to buy it. Mm-hmm. And so it does, quote, gatekeep, I guess, a lot of inventory from local customers, but you have to do that. If you don't have a balance between inventory of what's on the stream and what's in the store, both will collapse.
Yeah.
Because then there will either be nothing on stream or there will be nothing in the store.
Yeah.
Because if I gave my guys complete free reign to take anything out of the storefront, we would have to refill the shelves every morning.
Yeah. Because you have multiple streamers on multiple platforms that are basically, quote unquote, kind of feeding an audience that is all over the world.
It is.
And so let's talk about some of those streaming platforms. You mentioned that you were an early adopter on Whatnot, which obviously has panned out really well for you guys. What other partnerships have you worked on from a streaming standpoint?
So, Whatnot, I would say we were one of the first 50 to 100 sellers on the platform, and I could be a few numbers off, but we were very, very early. We also have done TikTok Live. We only did that for about 4 months when they were supplementing coupons or subsidizing coupons. But right now we are a very heavy promoter and partner of eBay Live.
Okay.
We actually do golf equipment streams on eBay Live. We run 3 Pokemon streams on eBay Live, and we do a sports stream on eBay Live.
Wow.
They have been incredible partners. It's an incredible platform, and it's the one platform that I really, from day one, when I saw that Facebook software, that I was like, this company needs to implement live. It took them a little longer than I would have liked. But
sure.
We're there, and they're still in the beta phase. There's still bugs, here and there. But overall, I can't be more pleased with the eBay partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a partnership that you have. I know you've been to some of their conferences and meetings, and you're kind of at the ground floor. I think it takes a certain type of entrepreneur to be able to spot those trends and to be an early adopter. You and I talked earlier, and Gary V's name came up in regards to V-Friends and other things that he's doing. And he's someone that I also see who is really kind of vocalizing the importance of live selling.
Yeah,
live selling platforms
every day.
Yeah. So what do you see as the future of live selling, and why is it so important for a business to have a storefront but then also to be selling live on the internet?
So how I look at it is, a storefront, if you do events and things, it's a little different than us. We're more collector focused than event focused. And I have my reasons for that. But eventually, maybe we'll have events. But over time, I think that live streaming gives you a sense of security. Like, you could have a month where customers just don't come in the shop as much.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a lot of shows. Maybe
weather.
The local economy's not doing as well as you'd hope. Or weather. In the winter, it snows. You could have a month where you do 250, 300 grand here. You could have a month where you do 80 to 100.
Yeah.
But with live streaming, customers don't leave their phones.
Yeah.
Customers don't leave their computers.
Yeah.
They sit there during work when they're supposed to be working, and they're buying cards.
Yeah.
Or they're just chatting, and you build a larger community. You have a much larger reach. Like, live streaming is the future, whether you believe it or not, in every category.
Yeah.
Because you're building a community. You can't, when you go on my website, you don't get to buy from me individually. You don't get to see the cards. You don't get to see the conditions. Like, you don't get to be part of a community. There's nothing there. You're just buying to be buying, which you could buy from anyone.
Yeah.
When you go on a stream, people go on your stream because they want to meet with JARCHOMP. That is the guy. And so, people pick and choose who they like.
Yeah.
Whereas a store, they'll just buy it because you have the inventory.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I think that live selling and building that community is so, so important. And shops that are not willing to do that, they're going to get left behind. They already have, in a sense of revenue perspective.
Yeah. Tough question on this same topic. Live selling, like you've talked about, like we've already talked about, is a comparatively new sales channel for a lot of businesses. Even for you guys, you've been in the ground floor, but it's still only been 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Which means you got many, many more years going forward. In any industry, the first few years, there's going to be rockiness. There's going to be bad actors. There's going to be a time where, certain companies, they build up a reputation. What is your take on, in general, there's a good, I would say, at least in the Pokemon space, there's a sentiment about live streaming that it's negative or scummy or, that perpetuates scams and things like that. And there's evidence for that, people resealing packs and bad actors, and obviously that kind of stuff happens. But what's your take on how a business who you feel like they need to live stream in order to keep up and to perpetuate their business, How do they not get mixed up in some of the reputation issues of?
Well, we had this conversation.
We did.
Me and Jake talked about this because I said, why are you not live streaming? And your thoughts was exactly what you're saying. There's a lot of bad actors. We don't want to associate ourselves with that type of connotation, I guess, about people scamming, and we don't want to be affiliated with that. But at the end of the day, like, you are who you are.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you do what's right, then people are not going to put that on you. People that are going to group, streamers as a whole. I was just having this conversation with someone else this morning. When you have a group of people and you want to put them as a whole and say, well, these streamers scam all the time or whatnot, they're all scammers. Well, that's just an ignorant thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, just because one person's bad, it doesn't make everyone bad.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Overgeneralization is what you're talking about.
Generalization of a group of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that streaming, you can look at it bad, you can look at it good. There's been so many bad instances that have happened on platforms where people scammed. But again, nobody talks about how many good things have happened.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
Like, look at all the good things. And there are plenty of people that they want to get every dollar they can from you.
Sure.
Whether you're overpaying, they do not care about you.
They just want to squeeze you.
It's nothing. Yeah. Yes. And they just rotate through customers. And sure, there's people that love them, that continue to buy from them and overpay. And I'll say, like, with eBay, we have really tried to drive a community where we offer value. If we see that something, and we can't do it every single time because it is a live $1 auction. There are going to be times where people pay too much, and that really does dollar cost you when somebody doesn't pay enough when you run things at $1.
Yep.
But if people severely overpay, we try to give something extra as much as we can, whether it's a few packs, another card for free, whatever it is. We try to notice that, and especially if there's someone that's been buying and buying and buying, we try to take care of those people.
Take care of them.
But again, there are plenty of people out there. They could have a $30 card go for $150, and they're like, "Man, that was a great pickup."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Because it all depends on their perception of the card and their opportunity that they see with it and how much they like it. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, from a seller's standpoint, and I've already been through this, we've had cards or packs or whatever that sell for more than someone might be able to find in some other location. Yeah. But there's also things that sell for less than they would be able to find. A lot of times. And so from a seller standpoint, like, you're taking a risk by streaming live, and there's no guarantees for you either. And there's expenses. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you run a really complex business. You've got 13, you said, employees. Yeah. You've got multiple locations. You've got, obviously, multiple streams that you're trying to feed with inventory. So there's constantly lots of money going in and going out all the time. Yeah. How do you manage that, man?
Yeah. So, I mean, business is good. So I don't worry too much about the financial side of it. But with the fact of tracking expenses and, everything that goes into it, a lot of people don't understand what goes into this business. Yeah. Like, they just think you're a card shop, you get a bad review. Nobody helped me for 10 minutes. Well, we've got 15 other people in the store. Like, I can't help every single person at one time. When we have 2 employees working the shop front, there's 15 people that need help. I think what that comes with the expenses side of things is, we could hire more people. People don't understand how much it is to hire more people and to train people, and the special skill set that it takes in this business to know how to comp a card. Sure, you can go look up a card on eBay. But for example, again, we'll go back to this Machamp. The Machamp sold for $1,000. It sold for $800. It sold for $600. The lowest list is $2,000. Well, what do you price it at? You want to be the next highest sell? Because you probably could. You probably could sell it $1,200 to $1,500. Well, somebody comes in the store, they're pissed off because they just saw it last sell for $600, even though it just sold for $1,000 before that a week ago.
And now they generate a perception about you that you're trying to squeeze people, and it's like, it's more complex than that.
And then when it comes to pricing, you might have somebody in your store say, "Oh, well, it just sold for $600. We'll just price it at $600."
Yeah.
Well, now you've just lost potential income that you could have gotten. And you're having to pay that employee to be there that just cost you the money. Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand what goes into that. I mean, I'll get into a little bit of numbers. I mean, Our labor alone is almost $1 million a year, just in labor. That doesn't include utilities. That doesn't include all the equipment that we're constantly buying and upgrades. That doesn't include display cases. That doesn't include rent.
Inventory,
that doesn't include
obviously.
Insurance, inventory, cost of goods. It's constantly rotating. Shipping supplies, sleeves,
Taxes.
top loaders, taxes. Like, people don't understand. Even employer tax. You pay somebody $20, you're actually paying them like $24, $23.50.
Yep.
I mean, people just don't understand the depth of how much it costs to run a highly efficient business in this space.
Yeah. It's a complex issue, and it means that you need to be alert for opportunities all the time. And I'm just sitting here as you and I are talking. I'm looking at your phone over here, and it's just constantly buzzing. Right? You're probably getting 5 messages every minute.
That's why I took it out of my pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And you're getting them not only from your employees, but you're getting them from potential business partners and probably from family members. And you also have, loved ones that you're trying to keep up with and take care of throughout the day. And you've got all these businesses, all these employees, all this travel. How are you doing on a personal level?
Well, again, I'm a very optimistic person. There's not a lot of things that can set me back.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it in a minute, but even the break-in that happened the other day, I mean, one of my employees called me and was like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm good. Like, what happened, and we're just going to fix it, and we're going to move on."
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, "I knew I was going to call you, and I was going to be more upset than you."
Yeah.
And so, of course, there's times where I just need to sit back, and I need a break.
Have a breath.
And I try to do that, like just San Diego show. Me and the wife went 2 days early. We stay in a place on the beach, take a couple days. You don't get that all the time.
No.
But, when I can, I relax. But I usually go to sleep at 4 a.m., wake up at 10 a.m., and rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And so it can take a toll, but, I just do the best I can and keep a good mindset.
Thanks for the transparency on that. Let's talk about the break-in. So, again, you own a shop here in Utah a number of years now, and, you're a shop owner, which means you advertise where you're located. People, know that you have inventory behind those walls and that you're buying and selling all the time, and there's transactions happening. And so there's obviously valuable things at the shop, which makes you a potential target for bad actors.
Yeah, it's a high-risk business.
It is. And so tell us about what happened.
Yeah, so I would say I woke up, but I didn't. We had someone in the parking lot there from a different business that knows who we are. They do business with us. They messaged me on Instagram and a couple other guys that worked there. Well, one of my guys happened to be up at 6 a.m. playing golf or heading to play golf, and he tried to call me 3 times, couldn't get a hold of me. Yeah. And he's like, "Well, I should probably call his wife, and she'll answer the phone. If you call me at 6 a.m., just know you're not getting an answer."
That's prime sleeping hours.
Yeah. And so she picks up the phone, and she's like, hey, you need to wake up. We got robbed. And so I just FaceTime him. One of my the guy that handles the shipping early in the morning, he had gotten there and was with the police. They drilled out the locks in the back and in the front, couldn't get in. They bust the door down, and they stole only slabs and serialized cards. So if we have any chance of finding them, hopefully that will lead to something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they broke in 3 people, black Chevy Tahoe with rust on the front, roof rack.
You have camera footage of the whole thing?
We have camera footage of these guys, one of them wearing a police vest. Let's add another felony.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, they stole, I don't know, probably 30 to 35,000. I mean, we had some of it inventoried, and we didn't have some of it inventoried, but they did steal numerous things that were $1,000 plus in value. I mean, the police came in and asked and said, "Hey, was this over $500?" And there was a Kobe on the floor. My guy picks it up and was like, "Well, I mean, this one card's $625, so yeah, probably."
Yeah, absolutely.
And so going to that, it's actually crazy how many people don't understand how big this business is.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk in our store and it's like walking in a jewelry store in terms of price points.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
And so it is a high-risk business. But we had the glass fixed in 4 hours. we continued as usual. That day was actually incredible for buying for us. We spent over $30,000 in the storefront. The quickest way to make your money back is to buy more and sell more. So we were right back to it. I mean, there's really not much slowing down.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this chat with you, Bailey, because I have a lot of respect for you. A lot of people, regardless of the business that they're in, when not only bad things happen, but when people take action to intentionally hurt you in that way, it can be really emotionally defeating. It can be frustrating. But the same mentality that you have that brought you to this point is also the mentality that is going to bring you through a trying experience like that, and relatively unscathed, right? Because you're someone who's just going to move on, learn the lessons that you need to learn about security and whatever it's going to be, and increasing those things at your store. But it's just about moving forward and not trying to perpetuate the bad energy that someone tried to inflict on you.
Well, I mean, you can focus on the bad things all day long, but as long as you're doing that, somebody else is passing you.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Nobody else is stopping because we got robbed.
Yeah.
And so we can't stop.
I love that. It's classic entrepreneur mentality. It's right. One of the things that you probably follow some of these big guys like Mark Cuban, he's like, if you have a business, just know that if you're not grinding, there's someone else who is working those extra hours and not taking those breaks, who is trying to come and eat your lunch.
And they are.
And so
we don't let that happen.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I have respect about you as well, is because in the 4 or 5 years that you've had a store here in Utah, you have quickly surpassed, from a revenue standpoint, from an inventory standpoint, from a local prominence standpoint, all of the other card shops and collectible stores that I'm familiar with in the state. And that has to do with the drive for business that you have.
And I'll say, I try to respect every store. I still go to the local stores,
of course,
that I went to before I started this. Do I say I love a healthy competition? I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And I used to worry and be like, man, they're getting all this. We can't even get the product. And once you realize, worrying about somebody else is only slowing you down.
Yeah.
It does nothing for you.
Yeah.
Hilltop's another incredible shop.
Yeah, shout out Hilltop TCG, great guys. See them at all these big shows
They're up in Riverdale or Ogden, and incredible store. I would say right now they're probably our biggest competitor. They're still an hour away, but again, there's plenty to go around. We're great friends with those guys. We've golfed with those guys, but there needs to be competition. That actually brings more people into the collecting space when there's more stores.
Yeah.
So we don't look at it like, oh, there's a competitor that just opened up down the street.
Right.
We're going to keep doing what we do and differentiate ourselves through streaming.
Yep.
And everybody else can do what they do.
Yeah.
So
I love that. I love that approach. 2 more things, then we'll wrap it up, man. Number one is you kind of touched on this, with the value of the inventory and everything like that being more like a luxury goods store, a jewelry store, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just how big is this industry? Because I think some people maybe misunderstand when they're just maybe collecting at a hobbyist level and they have a few cards in a binder or whatever else. They don't maybe quite understand what's going on in this industry from a volume and a depth and the quantity of people and the kinds of dollars that are moving around. What's your take on how big everything is?
I just saw a post, I guess it was a few days ago, about, what the revenue in terms of the big platforms, how much they did. And it was I think it was $463 million for the month of August.
Wow.
And you look at that and you're like, that's just those few platforms. We're not including shows. We're not including, individual stores across the hobby.
Private sales happening.
This has got to be $1 billion plus per month business.
Easy.
I was just talking to a guy today and told him, he was like, collecting. He was asking what we do, and I was telling him that we have a sports card and TCG store, and he said, that's a cool business. People have always been collecting. And I'm like, yeah, but now it's different.
It's a little different.
It's different.
What's different about it? People are perceiving this entire industry differently than they used to. Why is that?
I think it used to be, especially the TCG side, sports is always about collecting what players are the best. It's prospecting. Mm-hmm. It's the
who's
goats.
going to go to the playoffs.
It's the goats. But Pokemon's different. Pokemon's like 3-tiered. I always say, you know, you have your collectors, you have your investors, and you have your players.
Players, yeah.
And, you know, you can tap into all those. We've tapped into the collectors and investors. And one thing with that is, you know, as long as you can offer somebody a good deal, they're always, if they can make a little money, you can make a little money. This business has turned into everybody needs their piece of the pie. And if you can make that happen, you can get great relationships. You can really flourish in this business. But yeah, in terms of like the growth and scale of the market, I mean, it's incredible.
It's astounding.
Like even talking about 5 years ago, it was nothing during COVID to what it is now.
Yeah, and there was this kind of noticeable market spike in attention in 2020, right? Both for sports and Pokemon. Yeah. But now it's absolutely different. And you and I both already talked about how, hey, not every year is going to be like this year. But I would say, and I think you'd probably agree, we're never going back to how it was 4 years ago.
Never. But will cards that have gone from 2,000 to 7,000 in 6 months stay at 7,000? I personally do not believe that they will.
Maybe not, yeah.
Will they come back to that point after correction? Sure. I mean, everything is a cyclical market.
Yep.
Things will come back. It was just like in 2021, we did a video on our TikTok that said, what's the best investment of 2021? I said Evolving Skies. At the time, I put my money where my mouth was. I bought a few cases of sleeved packs, a booster box case. I'm still sitting on it. I paid $1,800 for the booster box case, and I paid $7 a pack per sleeved pack.
Yep.
Well, that's over. I think that's over $30,000 now.
Yeah, you've 10x'd pretty much.
And I paid $3,800 for it.
Yeah.
So, and again, on the collector side of thing, an investor, I'm one of those people where I'm like, I don't need to sell it. There's plenty of people that don't need to sell it, so they just won't sell it.
Right.
And do I ever think that box is going back to $180 to $300? It will never happen.
No, it will never happen.
Like, will it come down? Yes, I believe it could. But again, with the sealed product market, sealed product, they don't reprint this stuff.
Right. It's a finite asset.
It is what it is. And with with streams growing, it pushes prices of these boxes higher and higher and higher because, I mean, just in the last couple of weeks, there's been a couple of streamers run Legendary Collection box breaks.
Yeah.
How many more Legendary Collection boxes are there out there? I mean, there can't be that many.
Yeah, supply is getting deleted.
And somebody's watching this and they're like, if only he knew how many I have. But, I mean, even if somebody's got 100 Legendary Collection boxes, which is highly unlikely, that's not that many.
Not that many. It's a huge marketplace.
Yeah.
I mean, these ideas about allocations, growing and Pokemon printing more cards than ever. But, like, just look at how many of those cards are getting opened live on stream or privately as people are buying these cards at shows or on the store shelves or whatever. Every day the supply is getting just utterly
it's supply
destroyed.
And demand. People say, how can Umbreon be this high? And there's, I don't know how many there's graded. There's probably over 40,000 of them graded.
Sure.
Umbreon VMAX Alt-Arts. Well, go look at base set Charizards. Go look at Michael Jordan rookies. The Umbreon VMAX is that of this era.
Yep.
No matter how many quantity there is, it will always be worth money.
Yeah. There's too much attention. It's an iconic card. Great point.
But something about the market, if you look at the sneaker market, because, I mean, I did sneakers back during COVID as well. And not on a huge level, but small, like 80 to 100 pairs at a time. But if you look at the sneaker market, if Pokemon takes that same turn like Nike did where, this is for everybody, we're just going to keep printing and printing and printing. Prime example, a Panda Dunk was $300-$400 during COVID. Now they don't even sell for $80.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that could happen with modern tier products for a specific period of time? I'm sure they could. We're seeing it with Prismatic right now, which even though they're printing Prismatic into oblivion.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's still over $100 for an ETB, and it's, a $60 retail?
Yep.
So, I mean, that just shows you the sheer demand of the current market.
The strength. Yeah, the attention of it. All right, man. Let's wrap it up with maybe just some speculation on your part. You're someone who is incredibly involved in this business, virtually 24/7. What are you seeing in the future? What's the next 12 months, the next 24 months look like, both for your store and then generally for the marketplace?
Yeah. I mean, for our store, we've got big things coming. I mean, we're looking to grow. We're looking to put ourselves either in a second location or a bigger location. I think that we're going to be growing into other categories, not even within the collecting space, but live streaming in general. I don't want to say too much, but the automotive industry is I would love to be a live streamer on a platform running something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, in terms of the store as well, I mean, we're going to keep building out streamers. I mean, obviously the end goal is to be running 24 hours a day. And once you fill one stream, you start the next and the next and the next and the next. I mean, right now we have 4 total channels between eBay and whatnot. And I would love to grow. I mean, if we can expand on those, we could double our sales year over year, which, I mean, that's another thing. From last year to this year, it will be almost 3 times the number that we did.
Wow.
Which is
unbelievable
insane.
Growth. Yeah, unbelievable.
Especially after you've already been in business for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You just see an explosion.
Yeah.
But the market in general, I think, 30th anniversary is coming up. There's a lot of hype around that. The new Mega set in English, the Inferno set.
Yep.
There's a lot of big things coming
for
the end of the year. Yep. I mean, but again, let's take a step back. Every set's hype now in Pokemon. It doesn't matter what's in it. We'll find something to hype up.
Yep.
Is that super healthy? Probably not for a lot of people's pockets.
Yeah.
But the chase is every set.
Yeah.
There will be something that goes up every set, something that gets manipulated every set, which is happening every day. This is not all fun and games. There's plenty of market manipulation going on in the market. You can see a card go from $2 to $20 and back to $5.
Yep.
But yeah, I think overall the market is so strong, and what you said is we're never seeing it go back to the days before 2021.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we'll ever even get back to the prices of 2021.
Yeah.
Like a ETB at $55 is probably hindsight. Maybe when the new era comes out, the new era of Pokemon, like Scarlet Violet base and the first 2-3 sets, Paradox Rift, whatever else it was, those are always down sets.
Yep.
But they always come back.
They always
I've got an XY base set ETB and it's $3,000.
Yep.
And there's nothing in that ETB.
Yeah, almost nothing guaranteed.
I don't even know if there's packs inside.
Great point, man. I appreciate the perspective there. It's a pleasure to talk to you, my man. I'm sure we'll do future episodes again. And then how about you just let the people know where to find you and your stream and your store?
Yeah, we're Crave Collectibles on eBay Live, Crave Collect on Whatnot, Crave Collectibles in Midvale, 745 East Fort Union Boulevard. And we're at basically every Collecticon, every front row show, and we do a few sports shows, so 40 shows a year. So follow us on Instagram as well.
See you guys there. Thanks, Bailey.
Appreciate
you, brother.